Hey, Dirty South people. How is it going? I am coming to you from my bedroom again because that's where we're all coming from these days. I apologize for the glare in my glasses. I was getting some of this from my other class telling me that it's a little bit distracting, but it's the only way I can kind of position things so that I can look at my notes and also your discussion posts so that I can talk a little bit about what we did last week. We're starting this unit where, and I've kind of switched things around in my book too, so it's not feeling very, it's not feeling very organic at this point because this chapter that's about foodways and Southern food exceptionalism and white trash foodways actually has ended up being the penultimate chapter, and then the music chapter is now the last. So I'm sort of going backwards to look at this right now, but I really appreciate your discussions. During the week, we were talking a lot about. I know some of you didn't get to read Cornbread Nation, but we were talking a lot about what white trash is, and Cal had a really great response or respondent asking us to think about some questions about why this sort of white trash identity is so popular. And then, of course, tying it into Tiger King on Netflix, which is the thing I guess that's getting everybody through the pandemic, or it's certainly the cultural thing of the moment. I'm glad that we brought in Tiger King because one of the things that is that this book is trying to argue is that these dirty Southern identities, these contested Southern identities, are not just relegated to one decade, right, or really one century. That they kind of have their birth in this historical moment in the 70s, but they continue into the contemporary moment. Not just continue into the contemporary moment, but still retain that cultural relevancy, still have that cultural legibility, and are still wildly popular. I'm trying not to deal in this book with anything that wasn't a huge phenomenon in America. And I think the popularity of something like Tiger King really does draw that question to the forefront now, which is that here we are in a moment of great crisis in which everything that we believe is being challenged, everything that is important to us is being contested. And so what is the thing that really captivates us? What's the thing that really draws us in? And here it is again, this notion of white trash. I really liked Andy's comments about the ways in which discussions about Joe Exotic's racism displaces then other forms or systems of racism that the audience is viewing this as a way of displacing, or certainly in viewing it is exercising that part of them that then can expel it. And that's a really big part of Douglas's claim about what dirt does. That dirt is a matter of order out of place, or it's something out of place. That it's transgressive, it's dirty, it's contested, it's gross, but it also offers the potential then to be cleaned. And so that in the cleaning of that, whether that's discursively, or it's always a fantasy of cleaning, right? I mean, you know this even when you're here at home, that you say you've cleaned your floors, but you know there's dirt on the floors. I mean, dirt is ever present, but it's the visibility of dirt that we're trying to eradicate. But there's something very transgressive and something very potentially creatively fulfilling about dirt, or at least inspiring about dirt. And that brings us to Yeager's conception of dirt and desire, that we have, that dirt does a kind of magic for us in that way. So Joe Exotic has this way for us to displace these things that we don't want to own, that we want to reject, that we want to eject, that are matters of order out of us. And yet at the same time, they offer us a critical way to not be self-reflexive about that. And really that's a lot what AC was talking about, and also Mega in their discussions about how dirt is operating in this way. It's captivating, it draws us in, it's real, it's authentic, and yet at the same time we can disown it, or we can let it go, or we can sort of displace it from us. And I think this is really, we haven't talked a lot about food yet, and I know we're going to do a lot of it next week, because not only do we have that great documentary by Uezo and Andy Grace, Eating Alabama, we also have an actual literary text. Imagine, we're reading books again, with someone like Keenan and what he's doing with food. But I'm thinking about this in food waste too, because the way then that Southern food gets promoted as this dirty cuisine, this kind of cuisine of excess, this donut cheeseburger kind of cuisine that we are at once compelled by but also repulsed by, and that it offers us both of those opportunities to eject certain things but also to own them. And I think white trash, we kind of got this towards the end of our discussion where we were talking about ownership of white trash, and Autumn's fantastic comment that Oklahoma deserves a place to be in the real South, which I quite agree with. But food does this too, because it seems to me that this ownership of white trash cuisine, whether it's Cracker Barrel or whether it's the Mickler's White Trash Cookbook or whatever it is, that we do this kind of magic with cuisine or food ways in a way that maybe it's more difficult to see with other kind of cultural texts. So that the kind of cultural work that something like a cookbook might do in saying, here's the food of a culture that's contested. I'm sorry, I have to keep refreshing my iPad or it's going to turn off. Here's a culture of food that's contested, that's hyper contested, yet at the same time is so compelling to us because it offers us permission to indulge, to have an excess, to consume in these ways. But more critically, I think what it does as a cultural symbol, I think by the end of that, you guys got to exactly where I was going to get to in class, which is that white trash has very little to do with class at that point. It has more to do with a way of seeing and a way of owning something that feels authentic, that feels very much a part, that's organic and intuitive. And it allows you to own that no matter really what you associate with. I keep thinking, as I do throughout my life, because I'm cursed by a fandom for King of the Hill, there's an episode in which Kansupanusapam, who is a Laotian immigrant who's come over to America, kind of gets involved with this white trash group of people and finds that connection very easy for him. It has nothing to do with his class identity. He is firmly upper middle class. It has nothing to do with his racial identity or his ethnic identity. It has more to do with the way of seeing that he's able to co-opt and that he can connect to being an Asian immigrant where everything is expected, so he adopts this white trash persona of just kind of giving up and the music and everything that comes with it. And as most things are that Mike Judge does, it's pretty fantastic. So I almost included that as a counter text, but I'm weird. I really like King of the Hill, and so I read that into everything. I'm going to stop there. We're going to do more with food and how this is connected to white trash in the next week, so I'm really looking forward to that conversation continuing. I'm hoping you're all staying safe. I hope you're doing some good work on your project. I hope if you need me, you just reach out to me. I'm only a text or an email away. I'm happy to help out, whether it's something with class or nothing with class or something with project or nothing with project. Like, I just want to be here for you wherever and however you need me. But I hope you're doing good. I will check in with you next Monday, if not before. Bye, guys.